What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another match with the Bloomlordmon deck, but this time it's going to be against D-Brigade, which will be on the right and going first in this set. So obviously this matchup can be one-sided either way, depending on how the game goes. Bloomlordmon has the ability to just pop off and really high roll, being able to get a bunch of checks in one turn, but D-Brigade also has very strong early aggression, has floodgates like the Chumon, and also usually packs cards like Ultimate Flare and Iron Fisted Onslaught, which could definitely help out. And if they are playing Death Xmon in the list, obviously Death Xmon is a card that has been historically pretty good into Bloomlord with how wide they go, and so that is something that could definitely help. So this could go either way depending on what we see here. The Chumon sitting on the board, if they don't get rid of it, will be important for being able to stop Bloomlord or Hydramon from gaining their memory, but we do see the Pamumon on the board. When that is suspended by an effect, it will suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, so we are going to use the Ayatar effect to suspend the Pamu, play the Palmon, and that will suspend the Chumon, which means now we can swing over it, get rid of that memory blocker, and then be able to get up into our Bloomlordmon for cheaper. So we'll have to see if they swing over the Chumon. I assume they would, and they do decide to commit to it there, so now they could Digivolve up. They could go for the Hydramon too, and just bottom deck the Chikurimon that's on the other end, but it looks like we're going to go for the Sunflowermon, suspend the when Digivolving effect to play out another Sunflowermon, so not anything too crazy there, but does start to go wide. Being able to set up champions is nice because you have so many ultimates that Digizorp like the Blossomon or Argomon, and so being able to have those up to get free suspended Digimon for your Bloomlordmon is really good, especially because we got rid of that Chumon last turn, really opening up possibilities for our Megas here. But now we have to see what the D-Brigade player wants to do here to try to mitigate some of this damage. They could use option cards removal to get rid of the Ayatarmon, but that is going to leave the opponent with a pretty decent amount of memory, so we decided to just go with the Pride Memory Boost, which will play out a blocker Commandramon, and then the Kongu coming out, which will slow down some checks, but there's likely just going to be a ton of Digizorption going on right here, so we are going to use the Ayatar effect to play out the Palmon. Just looks like a single hit, so gonna see what they want to grab here. Gonna go with that red Veggie, either help you Digivolve up for one or can be used for an effect later. And there is an Ice Wall in the Bloomlord player's hand. They are playing Davis in the list, and it looks like they are also playing Ice Wall, so that is very interesting. I wonder if they are playing Megadeth as well with that blue package. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to get rid of that Chikurimon, swing it over with the Blossomon. That gives us a free suspended Digimon, essentially, because we are going to very easily be able to get into it. So now we're going to HBD. We have 4 suspended Digimon, so we will gain 4 and unsuspend. So going to, I believe, 6 memory here, and that is a ton of memory, so there's going to be a lot of damage. Oh, and gaining another one from the Ayatarmon, inheritable. So it looks like 3 checks, except for it's just 1 because of the Iron Fisted Onslaught. And like I did mention earlier, this deck does have the capabilities of having some pretty strong security with either Ultimate Flare, Iron Fisted Onslaught, and we did see that come in right there, being able to stop a ton of checks. But we are going to have another Bloomlord come out, sitting on just 2 suspended Digimon right now, so only going to have security attack +1 opposed to the security attack +2 the last Bloomlord had, but still have the abilities to just get some pretty decent swings in. We are going to start Digivolving up first, but I would imagine we would swing in here. Going to go for the 2 checks, and you have Piercing, so no reason to block there, and hits a couple of D-Brigade cards, so that will help the opponent with their Darkdramons later, but they are starting to lose control of the board, so we will have to see if that matters. Here comes out the Hydramon, which is going to suspend the Commandramon. You will gain 2, and then at the end of turn, you are going to bottom deck that Commandramon, so just putting the opponent at 1 and removing the blocker off the board. And right now you are sitting in a fantastic position with 2 Megas on the board, plus the Palmon and the Red Vegiemon in the back, so you are going to be able to go for a ton of swings. The opponent is going to have to commit into swinging the Commandramon over the Palmon, which again is losing them aggression swinging over the Digimon like we had to swing over the Pamumon earlier, and that is not helping the cause because they definitely need to be going fast. They're playing defensive as an aggressive deck right now, which is never the greatest sign, so we'll have to see what Bloomlordmon does hit in security here, because if they do hit something like the Iron Fisted Onslaught or the Ultimate Flare, it could be quite the problem. But going to be swinging in here now. You don't have Piercing anymore, so not going to be able to get piercing checks, and then that blocker is still there, and they actually swung over the suspended Commandramon instead of going for the security, and I think that's fine. If you're able to control the board, you will just end up winning this game anyway because you are so far ahead. Going into another Bloomlord, so just putting on even more aggression, but you are setting yourself up for a potentially gnarly Iron Fisted onslaught depending on if they can get through this Hydramon. But gonna go ahead and get the You May effect suspend, so you aren't gonna suspend your other Bloomlord, but you are still gonna be able to gain the 2 memory here and unsuspend the Bloomlord, which will give you the piercing because you need to suspend 2 Digimon. And I don't know exactly what's happening right here, but you are able to swing in 2 checks piercing right here, and then you have the Bloomlord, which can swing in if they block. You have the Hydramon effect, and so I think what they were talking about is just scooping it up, because just automatically scoop it up, go into game 2, and we will be having Bloomlord take the first game, and Commandramon choosing to go first, so that way they can get that Commandramon in the back. And you do have a ton of cheap options to be able to play, like the 2-drop Commandramon, but we're going to go with the Izzy, which is only going to play for 3, and now we'll set you up to not be choked for the rest of the game, and also just set up for that Darkdramon, because you need 3 to play that Darkdramon, and that makes it so you guaranteed have it for late game. And not the greatest response from Bloomlord here, playing out the Vegemon, which just puts the opponent to 3, so you aren't able to choke them. And they are thinking about swinging with jamming. I'm not sure if they are worried about swinging into something that could gain memory, but they would have that reboot if they just played the 2-drop Commandramon, but they decided to just forego the swing and play the 2-drop Commandramon, so potentially being a little bit afraid of potential option cards and security, which I think you can't do too much with D-Brigade just because of how aggressive you need to be, especially when we saw how far ahead the opponent was able to get last game. You don't want Bloomlord to get to that situation, but they made a somewhat decent call in not swinging because they did hit an option card, but now because you played that other Commandramon, it does make it a little bit worse. If you were able to just swing, hit that Grand El Sol, yeah, you'd get bottom decked, but then you would be able to play that Commandramon, it wouldn't get suspended, and you could swing in another check, so there are plus and minuses of that going down. But then comes out a super hefty Ultimate Flare, putting the opponent to 5, so they can set up this Davis. I did mention the Ice Wall and the Davis a bit earlier. I didn't actually know about the Ice Wall, but I did know there was Davis in the build, so a little bit of a blue package. Haven't seen Megadeth yet, so I don't think they are playing it, so very interesting that they are going for that. But gonna play out that Palmon. Only 1 single hit you can get because Hydra is a vegetation, so they are going to take that there, and looks like they are popping that boost to go to 3 so they could just develop a little bit more. Play out the Palmon, be able to go for the Sunflower and play out the red Vegemon. Going really wide on board is going to be setting up for your Bloomlords and your Hydra later, so it is pretty nice. But the thing about red Vegemon that is awkward in this matchup is that it's a 3 cost, so it does actually get deleted by Ultimate Flare, which we might see come up later, but that is something to note. If you build a stack on top of a red Vegemon and they Ultimate Flare it down to the champion, it will still get deleted. But going with that Kazu, so that way they can swing with the Commandramon, get the draw and trash. On deletion, play out that 2-drop Commandramon and another Izzy coming out. So just going to be rearranging the top while also being able to develop a second Izzy. So if you wanted to put a Grumblemon on top of it, you would still be able to keep an Izzy, which I don't know if we are going to be able to make it to that stage in the game, but you do have the potential. And now going for a super weak board to Ultimate Flare. That's all I can super notice at the moment, so they're going to have to hope that they don't swing into that. The opponent did already play 1, so there is 1 down. They're probably only playing 2 to 3 in the list, since we already know there is also Iron Fisted Onslaught in there. I don't believe I've seen a hint of Death X yet, so you don't have to worry about that, hopefully, at least for the Bloomlord player, because that would be incredibly rough right now, especially with the Tamer being able to reduce it right here, and a little bit misorder of operations right here. You don't suspend the Hydramon, you are going to be having that unsuspended. You can suspend the Palmon though, which will set your opponent up to where if they swing, they will be losing memory, but I don't think it matters too much. We are going to be having 2 Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy suspended, so end of turn, you are going to be able to bottom deck that Commandramon right there. And this is looking like a super tough spot for the D-Brigade player just because of how many bodies are on board. Could very easily potentially go for game, so we are going to be looking for, I mean, Ultimate Flare is completely devastating right here. It would clear everything besides the Vegemon, but they go for the pass, so that is also very rough because that means you are now essentially relying on security and hoping that you can just get through with the Commandramon in the back. So gonna swing one Commandramon, another D-Brigade into the trash, going to swing with the Vegemon, and there is the ultimate flare, which, you know, I was kind of suggesting could happen, and that is very devastating. I think if you don't hit that, you probably just have game this turn, but since we did hit that, we just went from one of the most insane boards to just a suspended Vegemon. So now I'm going to go for the red Vegemon, Digizorp for 1 into the Cherrymon, and then thinking about Digivolving up or just playing a Digimon on board. So going to go with that Vegemon in the back. Opponent will go to 3 with that Izzy and then 4 with the Kazu, so they can go ahead and swing in here. You can use Cherrymon's effect to redirect to a suspended Digimon once per turn, so gonna go for the Trash the Darkramon, reveal the top 3, hit 3 Commandramon, so you can play whichever one you want to be playing out there, but now there should be plenty of D-Brigades in trash for the Darkramons, which depending on if they want to go for it, but they are counting out 5 right here, so I can imagine we are going for a Darkramon. Gonna be putting another one in the stack, so that way you can recycle the Darkramons. That is something that is very nice about the Darkramons, is that they essentially stop you from decking out in long matchups because they can recycle each other. But gonna swing over that Cherrymon, no longer able to redirect because it is a once per turn effect, and then gonna play out just a decoy Commandramon. You aren't necessarily dead this turn. Your opponent obviously could go for a bunch of Digizorption effects and some sort of shenanigans, but I think you're relatively safe because the main proponent is Sunflowermon, being able to go so wide, and we don't have a rookie on board, so not going to be able to get up into one. So Ayatarmon is very similar, but a bit more expensive. And to use the effect, you are going to have to suspend one of your Digimon here, which will put it in the risk of being swung over by the opponent's Darkramon, which looks like they are going to go for. You could Digivolve up, but you don't have enough suspended Digimon to be able to keep turn, especially with that Vegemon going down, but still able to get a little bit of chip damage. Think about what they want to go for here. You could go for the Ice Wall if you wanted to, but actually going for Grandel Soul, so just the opposite end. Think about playing a cheap option card. They're going to play the most expensive option card, putting the opponent to 8, 9 with that Kazu, and this gives them pretty much ample opportunity to play anything they want. So just going to start off with swinging with the Commandramon and getting a little bit of cycle. Will go down, but I think you are just trying to swing in here. If you have Caesarmon, you might want to build up into it just to get jamming, but you may want to use this memory as an opportunity to play some removal, but actually complete opposite. Tankdramon coming out for 7, gonna be able to Digivolve into the Darkramon, which will Digivolve for 0 since we have the 5 D-Brigades, but we don't have Rush or anything here. They are gonna get the draw, I believe, there first, which is why that's happening, and then put it on top. So you don't have Rush, you can't swing over, you used most of your memory, so now if you did play a removal card, you would give your opponent a ton of memory, plus another green memory boost coming out, so actually just going for the Pride memory boost. Unless you get a blocker here, I don't think it's going to really be able to impact much, if anything, here, but there is so many Digimon on the board that the Bloomlord player is going to have to attempt to go for game, or they're definitely done for next turn. Grandel Soul is not going to be saving them, but they have a ton of memory with that green memory boost and sitting at 4, but they swing in and their Ayatarmon goes down, so no ultimate. Swing with the Vegemon, hits the Pride, and then they have Chimeramon, so that will do it. Just play the red Vegemon. You can DNA up. Because you DNA'd, you don't have Summoning Sickness, and so you can just swing in right there. So Bloomlord able to take it. This was a pretty lengthy set, and so I feel like this set was relatively close. Even though it was a 2-0, I think both decks definitely had a chance to win. D-Brigade just did see the aggression or removal that it really needed, and there was a lot of times that Bloomlord was just so far ahead, but the deck was piloted by my boy Justin, aka Just Digi TCG, and he is starting to get back into making content a bit, so if you want to check out some One Piece and Digimon content, be sure to check out Just Digi TCG. But if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe because I'll be bringing you even more Digimon content. But I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.